Yeah, so I realized in the last video I didn't share my whole screen, but yeah, this is like the square function kind of build up. Zero division error. Um, there's actually not much to show. This was like the list with the functions. This is another list. Like we can have like different kind of data types in the same list. And this was a list where like we had a string, an integer, function, a list inside of a list, um, random methods. Yeah, this isn't super important though. And we for dictionaries, we can't like add a list or a dictionary like as a key. And that's the takeaway. And yeah, moving on to the Discord bot presentation, the main like meat heavy kind of show. So what is Discord? I actually been using Discord since 2016, I think. Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's been like 5, 6 years. Yeah, Discord's been around for a while, but it yeah, I'm on Discord so much now, but Discord is the thing that kind of inspired me into kind of going into coding, into kind of computer science, I feel like, because I was first taking like in freshman spring semester, I was trying to take CS61A, but I realized like, oh, I'm not like this class is too fast. I don't have that much experience. But I guess the main reason, like at the time, like I wanted to take it because I kind of wanted to make a Discord bot just to kind of like gain like experience or like kind of understand some of the data structures like the lists like that I explained or the dictionary that I explained before. Um, but I didn't know what any of that was, so I could barely like create like a simple like ping command at first. Um, but now I know all this stuff and now I can do like almost anything with the Discord bot. And I guess I don't know if it weren't I don't know if it weren't for Discord, I don't know if really would have gotten into computer science. I feel like because my first objective was I want to make a Discord bot, I want to be a cool guy. But now like I created like a Connect 4 game. I made like 2048 and like I'm getting into these classes. I've taken 61A. I really enjoyed like learning about like recursion, about like linked lists, and I enjoyed SQL. And then I took 61B, and I'm like, this is super fun. I'm here. Yeah, I'm doing this. And Discord is a place where we use like voice communication, or it's also a place where we have like the servers at. Um, like for example, this is like the class server I run for CS70. I'll actually get more on that later, but Discord was like for video games at first, like mainly, but now like Discord is kind of for like everything, like for school, kind of my main communication. Um, you have voice channels, screen sharing, custom emojis, private messages, threads, like DMs. So Discord is kind of like growing exponentially. And yeah, and software engineer roles for Discord. But yeah, why do we have Discord bots? Like who cares, right? But well, Discord, like in terms of what I made, like we could have like a bunch of games. Like I actually seen like a Pokemon bot. Like you could, I don't know, like you could play like the whole Pokemon game on a bot or something. And I'm like, what? But like how much code, like how long does that take? Like it was super advanced. Like you can have like a party and you can send out your Pokemon and you can like walk around with the buttons, like the Discord buttons. That's a bit insane. Um, please don't make something like that. But I made like simpler things like a hangman game, a slot machine game. But I mean, like I don't know slot machine logic like that. Like I don't work for Las Vegas like slot machines, so I just did something pretty kind of basic with like a little bit random logic. I made like a simple Pokemon trading card game. Tic tac toe with a Minimax. My Minimax doesn't work uh, correctly though. But there's also like general purpose commands, remind messages. I'll kind of explain more on that later. But like um, you have some bots that searches like for Google Images or like a YouTube video. You have like the Groovy bot, which is dead now, but we have like Me6 and I guess other bots, whatever is replacing that. Um, I don't know if anything's gonna replace that. Urban Dictionary, maybe retrieve information about a Discord user, like maybe when they join the server. So auto assign roles. is kind of like what I use in my this is not my bot. This is like a very famous bot though. But you know, it, I could do this probably, but it would cost money to like host a bot on a server, so I don't do that. But yeah, these are like the genders, like these are like you react to that emoji and you get that role kind of deal. So, you know, we have like a group for like roles, like, you know, this is oh, I should not be sharing. Um, okay, don't send that guy anything. But you know, roles for campus. Here, this is me. You can see me. Like these are my roles that were assigned by the bot. Except like mods, I'm a mod. I could do that myself. Like a color role, like people's names are like people's colors right here. Like they're assigned. Um, yeah, role for like what dorm you're in. Um, Moderation, I don't have a moderation bot, but there's like Carl bot with in some servers that can like delete like messages, ban somebody, kick somebody from a server. So Discord libraries, oh yeah, by the way, it's like 12 a.m. I'm still actually going. That's because yeah, I'm super into it right now. But Discord libraries, so Discord.py is like being really freaky right now. Like I guess the owner or like the creator of like the Discord.py library, like when he went on like hiatus, he was like, "Oh, I hate Discord buttons. I don't like the direction that Discord is going and how it's like pushing us into like their direction, and I don't want to do this." And then he kind of just like gave up for about 6 months, and now he's like kind of back recently working on discord.py. But while he left in August, people were kind of like brand like forking off of like the discord.py, so people have kind of done their own things. Like pycord I think was like the biggest, and nextcord was like the third biggest. But pycord is going to keep doing their own thing separately from discord. I would recommend this. I don't know. It kind of, I really don't know what the direction of what's going to happen, but like discord.py, okay, Danny, like he just left. We don't know if he can leave, like, and then he came back, but we don't know how reliable he is now. Like he could leave again. And so maybe we should just stick with PyCord or something like that, but it's up to you. Whatever you prefer, you can look at, compare and contrast. Like PyCord might have like, I think PyCord has buttons now. So, yeah, like discord.java, like javascript, I think they use, yeah, they have a lot more features than discord.py, I feel like, because yeah, discord.js is like the most used, but javascript is a bit more like complicated in terms of like using it with discord. So python I feel like is a lot better. But yeah, repellent, I think you guys are going to be using repellent, but I'm not that familiar with repellent, and I've encountered like some like a 429 rate limit error because I believe discord or repellent doesn't like people hosting discord bots like on their servers. So I'm gonna use pycharm, but yeah, try to find a workaround, or I'll kind of I'll walk you just through a little bit of the setup of repellent, but that's it kind of. So yeah, more on like okay, what like examples of like bots and why we care. This is the Mude slot machine. It's very popular, and it's also like known as the waifu bot. Um, I don't know about that kind of culture, but so this is like we roll like a slot machine, and I guess if you get like 3 in a row and you get that Pokemon, um, yeah, this is my bot. This is tic-tac-toe. So I didn't specify a player. And if you don't specify a player, that means you're playing against the bot, and the bot's gonna use the minimax algorithm to like kind of make a move. Like what is the most optimal move such that I don't win? Like there's either a draw or the bot wins. Oh, well, this isn't actually working correctly though, but yeah, like this is kind of the idea. And we use object-oriented programming, and we create like different classes like the square class for each tile. I think this is a bit extra though, but the board class, you definitely need like a board class and an AI class. Like those two are kind of required. Um, yeah, auto assign roles, like I showed you guys, and Carlbot kind of does that too. Retrieve information about a user, like I have a command like info, and it just like shows like these kind of basic things like when did I join this server, when did I join Discord, and I okay, so I have been using it since July of 2016, amazingly, and that's like my role, and I'm online, and I'm not a bot, unfortunately, but this is some of the Pokemon commands I made. So like the Hangman commands, you guess, like you, yeah, it's just like Pokemon kind of themes, Hangman, and you have 7 lives, or I think you have 8 lives. I forget how many lives I put on there, but there's a Pokedex command which uses the Pi Pokedex library. Unpack uses like this like my trading card game, so it actually uses like Cerebi to get the picture, and it uses a database to store like who owns what card essentially. Um, yeah, and it uses Pokedex to kind of get information about like what type the Pokemon is, and it uses my users table in my database to like, because I'm saying like this, it costs 10 gal to like get a card, so I'm gonna decrement the number of gal that the person has. Like it's a purchase, like you purchase this card, so it's kind of involved like I think 4 different things at once. This is like a music bot, not the best music bot. I don't know if there is a music like any good music bot out there now, but yeah, me6 listening to like cat music or something like that, in some server. Um, so that those bots exist. My bot has like something like that, but not super advanced like a playlist or something like that. I don't have that, unfortunately. So creating the Discord bot, okay, I'm probably not. I'll try to walk you through this. But essentially, you'll want to create a new application. You're gonna name your bot. You're gonna get like a icon. So you would name it, give it description, and after that, um, you would need to get the token, and they kind of changed this, so I can't like really show you the token, and I'm not, yeah, token. So when you have a bot, the token is basically the ID, or it's like the secret password for like it to kind of run, and the token you need to store in a file for like it to run. Like the token you can't just share with anybody. Like if you upload your code to GitHub, you don't want like anybody to be able to see your token. You're like the token should be in like a private file, and like if somebody gets access to your token, then they can essentially run your bot and do malicious like evil things with it. And so that's why we want to keep our token a secret. So like it's kind of like the key to like running your bot, basically. If yeah, you just have your key out in the open, then anybody can kind of steal, like have that running and do bad things with it. And so if that happens, then reset your token immediately with that button right here. And so like it would like void out the old token, and you would need to use a new token. Um, so I made mine a public bot. That means anybody can kind of invite the bot. Intents I'll probably talk about later. I might not talk about it. The URL generator, you just hit bot, and whatever kind of like permissions you want, you would click them. If you're just gonna probably like make this bot on your own server, you can just click administrator, and this is like the URL now, and you copy and paste the URL, and this is basically the invite link to invite your bot to like the server that you're like kind of beta testing your bot on. But maybe if you don't want administrator, just manually like click what permissions you want your bot to kind of have access to. Yeah, that's the start like of just like you have your bot, like now you have your bot like existing, but you've invited it, but now like it doesn't do anything. So now we have to like actually like make code so actually like get it up and working and get online essentially. Mhm. Yeah, so let's do that. So we going, so yeah. Oh, along with that, what you're gonna want to do is go to your settings, go to advanced, and make sure that the developer mode is toggled on. And what developer mode is gonna do is we want to use this because when we're kind of just beta testing or whatever, so Discord, a lot of things happen in Discord. Like every channel has an ID. Like this is the channel ID of the programming channel in the Robotics Club Discord. This is my ID, like my Discord member ID. This is the ID of the message that I just sent. So like everything kind of has an ID. The server has an ID. This is the guild ID of the Robotics Club Discord server. So you'll want to you might find this for some commands you might need somebody's ID. You can do something like this, like just brute force, just putting it in there, or there's other things to do. But I mean, it's more like let's say you only want a command to work in like only one specific server, then you'll need that specific server's ID essentially. Or you only want a command to work with one person, well, you'll need that one person's ID, right? Okay, what else am I gonna do? So whenever you start your bot, like this is the main like basic minimal bot script that you're gonna have. And so you're gonna import Discord and you're gonna set client to discord.client. That's just like client is kind of the variable you use everywhere for everything. So I'm gonna get into what this is, but this is like a decorator. But essentially we have an on ready like commands. And whenever we start our bot up, like we're gonna log. So like right now, like I'm gonna run my bot, right? I don't need this event log. This is in PyCharm. This is the main.py file. Like I have something, mine is a lot more advanced than that minimal script though, but like I have client equal to this, and my onReady is right here, my onReady function, and it's gonna say we've logged in as Dragonite, like the print statement. So that's what that's doing. And if you see that onReady, like this print message is printed, that means the bot is essentially online. And this on message is like a bunch of, I don't know, I don't like this on message. It's just like kind of a sample command, but it's not really like a command. So I'm going to kind of get more, I'm going to give you something better. But so you're going to do client.run. And this is where a token that I mentioned before, like you get the token in your Discord developer portal. When you create your bot, that's when you get the token. If you lose that token, you need to reset your token. And that's when you can make a new token. But that's the minimal script. And that would be in like a main.py file. And you can read more on this right here too. But I'm going to keep going. So yeah, the Discord developer mode I've talked about. If you need a guide, it's right here, but it was just the steps that I showed you later on how, like earlier, on how to like get the yeah. But yeah, inviting the Discord bot. So when you invite your Discord bot, I showed you how to do it earlier, but you also need to make sure you have managed server permissions in order to invite. So you'd probably want like your own server, like private server. If you're just making it for yourself. Okay, so where is your token going to go? In Repel it, you're going to create an environment variable, and where the key is going to be token all in caps like this, and the value is the I don't know if it needs to, yeah, it needs to be a string. It's a string, or instead of fake token, you're going to put the real token. So like it's going to be a bunch of like random letters and numbers, like as a string. Whatever you copied from your developer portal, that's what goes into here as a string. And okay, so now that you have that, okay, so you're gonna have something like this. So import Discord from discord.ext import commands. You need to like command, you should okay, so the script, like the starter script doesn't have that, but that's what we're gonna use because like this the other way was like doing it with like on message, like okay, we're not, it's like we're looking for, if this message starts with like the command hello, then like no, this is not how we're going to make commands. Okay, but so you need to import like this specific like part right here, import OS, and that's just because we want to like kind of get our token like by using this right here, like bot.run os.get. But yeah, I know this. Some of this code might seem like what is this? But I'll try to explain. Like I'm gonna build it up, but this is just a high level kind of overview. But I will build up every kind of step. Bot name, yeah, bot name is just the string of whatever your bot. So so this right here can either be client or bot. It's kind of interchangeable, like what the variable is right here. It can gotta be anything, but the general kind of thing that most websites use is either client or bot. And you would specify what the prefix is that you want your bot to use here. And case insensitive, I believe that's just saying like commands. Like if I have a command called called guess, like case insensitive means like I can trigger the command like I can trigger the commands like this, like this, and it would still work, and this would still work like as the same. I mean, this isn't working because already okay. Well, if I go in a different, ooh, wait, that's not going here. Yeah, so the caps or lowercase doesn't matter essentially. Okay, so on ready, what this is doing is that when like the bot is starting up and it's logging in, first it's gonna change this activity. Like, you know how like some people they're showing, oh, I'm playing League of Legends or something, and so that's an activity, or like I'm listening to Spotify, and so we're gonna set the bot's activity. This is optional, of course, but I'm playing a game and the game's name is demo. So when the bot's gonna log in, it's gonna say it's playing demo. So 08 bot dot change presence is like so it has a two parameters status. So we can say discourse dot status dot online. It's good to know, like it's good to like change the status so people know the bot's online. I mean, you can put it like I think there's a status for like do not disturb. You can do that if you want, whatever you want. Uh yeah, so that like the parameter activity is going to be equal to activity that we defined earlier. Cogs I'll explain later, and print it's just like it's good to know like when your bot's like logged in and everything's successful. So reach that line and you can see on the console that your bot's like successfully logged in. And then we have our first command, simple command called ping. It just returns a latency and it sends a message, but essentially like this is like the starter is like bare minimum kind of commands that we kind of just use to see if our bot's working. So synchronous programming. Synchronous programming is like essentially everything you've done up until this point. So everything, each statement is like, okay, like my Python basics, for example, that was all synchronous programming. Every statement is happening one after the other sequentially. And we have to wait for the previous like call expression to completely finish evaluating in order to like get to the next call expression or something like that. And the speed at which our program runs is dictated by our computer processor. And this is just some random like code, but the point is that like lines 18 through 22, they're gonna be ran like synchronously, one after the other. We have to wait for Fibonacci 5 to finish before we can call random out random ints 110 and so on. Okay, so we're gonna try to build up to asynchronous programming, but so this is still synchronous programming, but we're gonna import time. We're gonna create two functions called print1 and print2, right? And then we're gonna call it print1. And what print1 is gonna do is, so time.sleep puts the whole computer like program, like the whole script to sleep. And so nothing's gonna happen for 1 second. Just stop executing everything and then wake up after 1 second, right? And so then we're gonna print the number 1. Okay, so like that's the first function, right? Call. We've done all this, and now we go to line 9, and we're gonna print 2. So go here, and now we're gonna put the program to sleep for 2 seconds, right? And now go to line 7, print 2. And now we would go back to line 10, and we're finished executing, right? And let's take a water break. All right, so okay, what is asynchronous programming? So in asynchronous functions, programming functions, they don't have to be executed sequentially. And Okay, so why would we use this? Like, why are we gonna go out of order? Like, who does that? So when we like use asynchronous programming, like sometimes we have to wait for something that is not related to our computer. Like we have to wait for like maybe a YouTube video, like retrieve a query from YouTube or Spotify. Uh, or maybe we're like playing a number guessing game and we want to wait for a user to like guess the number and we have to wait for their response, right? And so okay, so let's say I'm okay, person A is trying to like is starting a number guessing game, and now the bot's waiting for their guess, right? And the person A just like leaves, goes to the bathroom and just does something else, right? And like we in asynchronous programming, like the bot is still going to be able to perform other commands that other people have done while it's waiting for that guess, like number guess, right? So person B can show up while person A is in the bathroom, like just away, not guessing, not playing, not actually like playing the game, and person B can like use a YouTube command and get, and what's gonna happen is that YouTube video is gonna be sent before person A like sends their message or something like that. Yeah. So asynchronous programming, it's like you can do things out of order, essentially. Um, so while like the code is waiting, yeah, asynchronous programming can allow other functions to be executed in the meantime, right? And so this is really essential for how like understanding how like asynchronous programming works is essential for like understanding like how Discord bots work. Um, so how do we write the asynchronous code? That's a big story. So we have things called coroutines, and yeah, this is some weird definition, but I'm just gonna explain it how I would do it. But so we have to use the keyword async def, and that says this is an asynchronous function now. Um, so we always have a main function, right? So when you call main, Python returns a coroutine object. So let's kind of experiment as to what okay, so forget about all this and we're gonna call async def main and print constant, right? Okay, and we're gonna run it, and now we're gonna call main, and we actually see that we have a coroutine. Essentially get a coroutine object. And what okay, so the like I called main, but it didn't like execute line 2 for some strange reason. um Actually, I don't know if let me actually experiment live. I don't remember that pytutor dot yeah. I don't know if hmm, that's weird. uh I don't know if this handles asynchronous. Oh, it does. What the heck? I did not know that PyTutor supports asynchronous programming, but I guess it does. So yeah, we get a coroutine object, but it wasn't awaited. What does that mean? Um, yeah, let's find out. So, okay, when you call main, Python returns a coroutine object, and okay, so it didn't print constant, but that's because when we call an asynchronous function, we need to await that function. And what does that mean? Uh, okay, I guess building up. Oh yeah, this is just okay. So, all right, forget about main for a second. I mean, yeah, we do need a main function, but let's just forget about it for now, right? Let's try to be like naive, and let's just we want to do asynchronous programming. So we're gonna change our functions, and we're just gonna put async in front of them. And now we're going to try to print uh like the result of calling print 2. Or I mean, okay, that okay, that's not the best code, but we're gonna run print 2 essentially. And what it does is it returns as a coroutine object right here. But it says coroutine print 2 was never awaited. So kind of same business into like the errors that were dealt with when with the main function. And so yeah, a coroutine object is returned rather than the function being executed. So we need to await the function. And okay, let's just do this, right? Uh yeah, let me just do this, right? We have like main print constant. So we need to await the function. So let's just await it like this. and that's actually invalid syntax. We cannot await functions like inside the global frame we can't await it. Like a function needs to be awaited inside of a function, or sorry, that's right. A function needs to be awaited inside of a function, right? So it would be in like the function main. Um, yeah, it doesn't make too much sense right now, but I'll build up to it a bit more. So yeah, so we need a thing called an event loop. And an event loop is where we have a bunch of tasks that we want to run inside of a main function, right? That's how it's supposed to be. But we're gonna be naive children for a second again, and we're just gonna okay. We have async def print num, right? So we're gonna use async IO, and that's like asynchronously put something to sleep. So time.sleep is actually puts the whole program to sleep, but async IO.sleep puts just like the task to sleep. So we can still perform other things, and our whole program isn't put to sleep, but only the task is put to sleep for n number of seconds. So we're gonna create an event loop right here on line 6, async IO.run print num3, right? So what's gonna happen? What I want this to have, what's supposed to occur is I want 1 to be printed and then 3 to be printed. Like 1 to be printed, yeah, right. So sleep for 1 second, then print 1, sleep for 3 seconds, and then print 3, right? But this is not gonna happen in this script because we have 2 individual event loops, right? So what's gonna happen is that line 6 is gonna run and then line 7 is gonna run. But that's not how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to have 1 event loop, and we're supposed to only like kind of call 1 function, the function main. We don't have a function main here, but let's go right here, right? And so I'm actually not using import time, but okay, whatever. But so we have the same function, and we have the main function, right? And so okay, now we're gonna await the 2 function calls, print num3, print num 0.5. That's cool. And now we're gonna async.run the main function, right? But this is actually not correct because a task isn't created. We need to create a task, right? If so, what happens is like we'll await print num3. That's gonna like await this many seconds, right? But I guess when it's put to sleep, we'll try to see if another task like is like waiting, like we can run another task in the meantime. But we don't we need to actually create that task first. That sounds kind of weird, but let me just put to the next slide. So when we create a task, we tell Python to execute a coroutine as soon as it can, but only one thing can run at a time. So when executions pause, we can allow another function to run in the meantime. So await task 1 means, all right, wait until this task is finished. So right here in main, like we have task 1, and we say async io.create task. That allows us to create this task, which is calling the asynchronous function print num3. And now we're creating task 2, and we're like creating a task with this function print num1. And then we await these 2 tasks, right? Await task 1, await task 2. And this allows us to successfully, like we created task 1 and then task 2, and then we ran task 1 and then task 2, right? So, okay, await task 1, await 3 seconds, like we're gonna put it this task to sleep, right? But we know that another task exists, task 2 exists. So await task 2. And meanwhile, while like this task 1 is put to sleep for 3 seconds, we're gonna call task 2 perform the body of like we're gonna like create a new frame, or like local frame with print num, and we're gonna put the program to sleep for 1 second again, right? Except that we have no other tasks, so we just wait that 1 second out, and then we can print 1, and that's what we see here. And now okay, that task is done. Now going back to task 1, okay, program's put to sleep for 3 seconds, right? And now we can print 3, right? And so yeah, this is the asynchronous programming part. Like task 2 is finished before task 1, essentially. So things can be done out of order. Okay, so this is a bit too much, but I guess out of order, or like in the big picture, like we can create asynchronous functions to like fetch data from fetch like a YouTube video. So we might have to put the program to sleep for 1 second to like, so async IO does sleep 1 second. You can imagine that as like waiting for like a YouTube video, like response, like the query, and like fetching data. Like this is like starting of like fetching the data, and in between is like getting the actual data. And now then we return the data. We might have an asynchronous function to update our database, which yeah, we do that a lot. And I do that a lot in my Discord bot. Um, this is okay. You don't have to really worry about how this is kind of executed, but like I guess after we would have to like it takes time basically to like update. So the program might be put to sleep. Let me take a little break. So yeah, we have like the main function, which is where we create we create task 2, and which is supposed to update the database with like our users and our experience points that we want to update. So that's going to take 10 seconds. And meanwhile, we create task 1, which is actually 10 different tasks. And we're going to fetch data 10 different times. And we were going to await these tasks essentially. Yeah. This is a bit too complicated. Yeah, you don't have to understand this, honestly. It's just a bit like just a cool example. Um, yeah, so await task 2 immediately prints the result after task 1 executes 10 times. So task 1 is gonna happen like we created yeah, we created task 2, but task 2 is like the result of like um that task 2, like the result of that is going to be um like printed after like task 1 has been printed 10 times. Well, task 1 is actually going to keep changing though while the for loop. Okay, so this is what happens essentially. Like this is the YouTube video result like 10 times. Like we fetch the data and we get a random, like you can think of the number as like a link, or and the bottom is the result of updating our users to our database right here, like with the experience points stuff. Yeah. And this is an example of like a command I use on my Discord bot, like the YouTube. Some of this is kind of abstracted away because it's kind of taken care of in like the libraries, but this is kind of in a wait, like we have to wait for like a query to get the video result. So this one is actually a synchronous kind of helper function, which self.reward is actually updating the experience points in my database for every person that uses the YouTube command. Like for basically any command I have, like give them 1 experience point for like using a command. And that's, yeah, I would have to await that, and because like I guess like updating that information to our database is an asynchronous function kind of thing. And when you like send a message, that's an asynchronous function too on your bot. Yeah. So, okay, synchronous comparison, right? Synchronous function, let's say we have 4 different tasks, right? We run it sequentially and they might take 45 seconds to run together. But asynchronous programming, um, like, sometimes you might have to wait, like, for a query or wait for user input. And so the same 4 tasks could take 20 seconds. So we could save a lot of time. And that's why we love asynchronous programming. But in Discord, it's a lot simpler in Discord, thankfully. You guys are gonna have a blast. But there's no main function like this, and we don't have to like separately create tasks. Like when people like create commands, right? That's kind of like, I would think of it as like getting added to like a queue or like a stack, and you know that's kind of handled, taken care of like for us, like all the commands. And well, they're like when we kind of start our bot, uh we start an event loop, and that event loop is open as long as the bot keeps running, and the bot just keeps asynchronously waiting for new commands to be added to like the queue, and the bot would like process the queue, um something like that. That's how I would think about it. um So we don't have to use the async IO module. Maybe like for some stuff you might, like let's say I want to send myself a remind, like a message. Like I want the bot to ping myself, hey, like put the laundry in the dryer or something like a reminder message. And I'm gonna set that for I'm gonna set a 60-minute timer for that. And so the bot would like so I what would happen is like the bot creates a task for that. Like when I call that command, the bot creates a task, and I gave myself that message, and the bot's gonna go to sleep for that. Like that task is gonna be put to sleep for 60 minutes, and after 60 minutes, the bot is going to send a message to me. So that's one way you can use. You can still use asyncio like dot sleep in your code, but like that, like kind of like that. But it's up to you. But in terms of the big picture, you don't need that. Yeah, so all bot commands are asynchronous commands. But yeah, we can still use like helper functions in either like way. So kind of comparison and contrast as to like what Discord looks like is our main function is kind of like well, not really, no, on ready is something different, but main function is kind of abstracted away. It's kind of like whenever we like have a command, it's like the bot kind of adds it to a queue, right? And like creates a task for that. But well, okay, so line 14 and line 23, they're kind of identical. It's like bot.run, asyncio.run. So bot.run kind of creates an event loop, and it just you know waits for tasks, which are like commands being used. Um, and so the token is kind of like running like the main function or running the entire bot is how I would think about that. Yeah. Yeah. So what are decorators? So this is a fancy definition that that is too fancy for you guys. Um, so I'm not gonna go over that, but what I'm gonna say is decorators go on the top of your function. And one example, I'll just go through through examples. Like for every command that like we use, we need a decorator that's kind of like denoted with an at symbol, and we would say like right here, I would say like bot.commands with the parentheses, and having that label in front of like the commands, like now our bot knows that if somebody like inputs like the prefix and then add with the proper parameters, then they're using a command, right? But if we didn't have bot.commands and somebody tries to like this line 22 and somebody tries to use the like command add, it wouldn't go through. Like nothing would just happen. The bot would know to look like to like run this command if like I guess bot.command kind of adds it to like a list of commands, and the bot would know to go to this line to perform this action. Um, this is kind of abstracted away for us, but the bot wouldn't know this is command if we don't put this decorator here. That's the takeaway. Um, Also, a thing to note is like every command needs at least one parameter, right? And so usually the first parameter is the context, and context is like a whole bunch of stuff. It's like it stores like information about where the commands like was taking place, what channel ID, what server, information about the user, like the author's nickname, the author's Discord ID, the Discord tag, the region of the server, like what language, um the message content, yeah. I don't have, okay, so more on decorators. We have like bot.event, client.event, kind of same thing, just different like prefix for that. So an event would be like on ready, like when you log in the bot, bot would say it's logged in. On message uses client.event. That I don't like that example though, but I'm going to show you my own example of an on message. And I have like oh, I actually have that as an exercise. Um, okay, this is a kind of advanced, but essentially, we'll have client, okay, client.listen, client.event. I feel like they're might be the same thing. I'm not too sure. Um, hmm. Okay, that might be a little outdated, but for on message, use client.listen essentially. And so what this does here is every time somebody sends a message, we're gonna give them, we're gonna update the total number of messages that they sent by one into our database. And we're also gonna award them, I think this also awards them experience points. I'm not too sure. Uh, yeah. Oh no, this just checks, this also checks if the user can level up and, oh, oh, so level up is, oh, okay. I think total is like the number of commands that a person used, and it might also represent the total amount of gal that the person has owned. With gal is like the currency system. So this is kind of like, this is also useful for like leveling up. So if I check if like the person can kind of level up, like they're within like the boundary. Um, this is like the formula for if they like they can level up or what level they're supposed to be. Um, so essentially like this part just updates the level by one if the user deserves to level up based on this formula. Um, so just the on message part is like every time a person sends them, I don't actually use the message parameter, I think. No, no, actually I do. Um, this is like the context. So every commands or even just like an on message needs at least one parameter. And the message, I'm using message and I'm just getting the author's ID because that's how I kind of store. I mean, I can open it up. Let me just actually pause. Yeah, so this is my users table, and this table stores everything about like the like, so I have like the Discord ID. Usage is how many like, I don't see total. Oh, total is right here. Uh, hmm, that's a lot of numbers. Okay, so select everything from public.dict, order by total, uh, descending. Uh, uh, what do you mean? Oh, I think it's a string. Okay, let me just pause. Yeah, this is like the query that I kind of like created, and hmm, I don't know who this is, but yeah. So this is just organizes my like table based on like, total. So the first person, the first row has like the highest total and the last has like the lowest total or whatever. And this is kind of like the total kind of, I use this to like level up my people based on this formula. Um, yeah, so if like, yeah, and this part is like a query like update user set level equal to like level plus one, or ID equals message the author dot ID, and so this would level them up. Yeah, and this is the level column right here. So the higher your total, the higher your level. Like level corresponds to total, kind of bijection. Yeah. um yeah. So there's other kind of decorators. um like you can make your own custom decorators, I guess. Just like some common ones, you're probably not going to use all of these, but so we can stack them together like this one. So we have like a command super secret guild data or whatever. So we're saying this is a command, and this command like can only be used by the owner is what this is saying. And on top of that, it's we can only use this command in this guild with this guild ID, right? Because remember, like every guild has a guild ID. So this is like the robotics club guild ID is like this one right here. um oh, I think that's my number. Okay, it's still, oh wow, that okay. That was so long ago. I don't know why I don't have a timeout for that game. Um, I thought I guessed that number. That's hilarious. And isn't guild is actually um it's a custom command that we created right here. Um, I'm not that confident with this. I don't really use yeah, but you could just alternative just have if statements like if not in if this ctx dot author dot or no ctx dot guild dot id is not equal to this, then return. And this, yeah. Um, yeah, so all decorators must be true to run the command. So if I'm not the owner, but like this is like a command, I'm in the guild, and it's not gonna run. Um, so sometimes like we have like we want to have a check for every command, right? So we would do bot.check. Like, for example, if we want to globally block DMs, then we like ctx.guild is kind of like has information about the guilds. I guess this would be the guild name if ctx.guild is the guild name. And if the guild name is none, that means we're in DMs. And if it's yeah. So sometimes people don't want their bots working in DMs. I mean, mine doesn't really work in DMs because I'm assuming my bots like were working in a server, like in terms of like database stuff. Um, so yeah. Um, so every time a function, like anytime something is run, like a command is run, it would run this first and make sure that this is true basically. Um, sometimes we might just want a command only in guilds, but it can like our bot can work in DMs except for this one specific command. And this is the guild only. Like like just don't work in DMs. We would put this. I think this is built in. Yeah, these two are built in to the Discord. Okay. So all right, this is an example of a command that I made. So async def 8 ball. Okay, so right. So um when we create functions, we can't have like the function name can't start with the cannot start with um a number. So that's why we put an underscore. That's just a small thing. This isn't a class. I'll get more into that in a bit, but that's why there's a self parameter right there. But yeah, there's a context and whatever. So okay, we denote. So in a class we would say commands.command, but in like a main.py we could say client.command or bot.command. But inside the parentheses, we can optionally include the aliases, which are like 8 ball and 8b. So what this means is like person A can trigger this command using 8 ball and then saying their question. Person B can trigger the same command by just saying like prefix 8b and then the question. So it would do the same thing. Um, yeah, so what this command kind of does is like gives the person one experience point. Then I have a bunch of responses which are just like strings, like with like it is certain or I doubt this, it is likely or I don't think so. Like those kind of responses are kind of what the bot is saying. And unfortunately, I don't believe in love. So I just like filter like all the questions out. Like if love is in the question being asked, then I'm just gonna say that love's a figure of one's imagination and that's it, right? But otherwise, like we're gonna choose a random response from my responses, like a choice, random choice, and we're gonna send that to the question being asked. Um, so yeah, a lot of stuff a lot of like Discord bots I see, they kind of just like this kind of stuff. It's just using random dot choice. Um, so suppose that a question wasn't asked, then we would run into an error. And sometimes like sometimes like you wouldn't know like that you're doing something wrong. Like sometimes not all bots like report the error. It can get kind of like spammy. That's why. Like but okay, so if we want to create an error message, we would have a decorator for that, and we would like call the decorator with the function name and dot error. and so we would create a function for that right there that you see right here. And self, because it's in a class, context and error. So we're checking if this instance of this error is like we're missing required argument, like the question, then we would respond, or we would like send the message to the bot, like, please say the question, like we have to specify the question. That's why, yeah. But essentially the question is kind of meaningless because it just randomly like it's just random. Like it's not like science, or um it's not really predicting your fortune or whatever. It's just randomly choosing a response. Unfortunately, that's like when you like start coding these things, then you like realize, oh, this isn't really all that magical as it turns out. Like I thought this bot was like psychic, or I thought like, I don't know, like when you start like actually like making these things, you realize um like everything you knew was like kind of like a lie, you know? There wasn't that much magic behind it after all. But let's see. Yeah, command.error. Yeah, I think I went over this. Yeah, so more on context. So every command needs to have at least one parameter. Usually it's like CTX, short for context. You can read more about this on the documentation. There's just a lot of stuff going on with this, but running the debugger and on PyCharm, I was just like trying to see what components make up context, and we have like CTX.author, the bot, the channel, like the command was being used in, the command itself that's being used, the guild that we're in, the region, I guess, the guild ID, me, I guess, is the bot itself, a response, I don't really know. User is like me, I guess, like the person using it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff you're not going to use. But yeah, Discord documentation is pretty helpful. uh, or Stack Overflow. You're not going to remember everything, right? But yeah, these are just some of the components of CTX is pretty big. It's like just the context overall of what you're doing right now with the bot. Yeah. Okay, I'll do this. Sure, that's a good challenge. So we're going to code up a couple of commands. I guess I'll just do this in main. But right now I'm going to create, we just did largest factor earlier, right? With the while loop and that kind of drama. So we're gonna create largest factor in our bot. And we know that every function in Discord needs to start with CTX, and then we have n, right? And so this is gonna return what does it return? The largest factor of n that is smaller than n. Yeah, just remember to have good documentation for these kinds of things. So later on, when you look at your code in a couple of months, you'll realize the behavior of the function. I don't know what. Okay. So, I mean, I'm just gonna copy the code from earlier. The point of this is just to see what the differences is between like writing code for just like, because we want to send the response. So point is we can't just return the response, like return the largest factor. We need to actually send it, and that's the main difference. Well, this is how the code looks like. Okay, so this is how this kind of looks like before, right? So we have a largest factor. I guess we can have like a doc. I mean, we can't really run doc tests here, but like largest factor of 15 is like 1, 3, 5, right? Those are the factors, and the output is 5. Largest factor of 13 is 1, because 13 is a prime number. So, okay, so we're decrementing and how we're doing this. So if we run this, like you can like look at the other video to like see like the more in-depth explanation as to what largest factor is. But once we find the first factor, then we know like this is the largest factor, or like because we're decrementing. So like if we're saying like k equals n minus 1, so like with the input 15, we're starting with 14, and we're going to keep decrementing k until we find the first largest factor, or the first factor. And the first factor, because we're decrementing, we're starting from n minus 1. The first factor we find is the largest factor. So we would say wait ctx.sum_k, and we would return or just break, I guess. Uh, um, if we didn't reach that line, then we would the while, like for example, largest factor 13. It's gonna run the while loop. It's never gonna hit the if, so it's gonna keep going, and then it's gonna run this line, right? Which would always c6.send 1, essentially. But because k would be equal to 1 if we didn't do anything in here. But if like for 15, we're gonna reach 5, right? So if n modulo k is equal to 0, we're gonna send 5, and we should like just return. So like the while loop doesn't keep going. Return none, but it's like we're not really going to use like with like commands like this, we're not going to use we don't care about return values or anything. But for like helper functions, yeah, that is useful, but not for like commands. Return value is pointless essentially. So yeah. I guess I can I guess I can show you that this works. Yeah, sure. Why not? We have a lot of time. Yeah. Meanwhile, it's like 1:18 a.m. and I'm in like the soda hall. So there you go. So that works. Okay, so that's how you create largest factor, right? You know, we had a while loop for this. Well, what about recursion, like the factorial function, right? Because, all right, so let's try to do it the naive approach, right? So we're saying we have to do this recursively, right? So let's try this, right? So factorial recursively is like if n, like factorial, right? So for example, return the factorial of a number n, right? So we know that a factorial of 5, or let's start with like a little smaller, right? Factorial of 0, like by definition in math, it's equal to 1, right? Factorial 1 is equal to 1. Factorial of 2 is equal to 2 times 1, right? So 2 factorial of, let's 5 is equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 120, right? Factorial of 10, okay, we're not going to go higher than that, but it's like kind of insane. But factorial of 4, we can do factorial of 4, right? 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, right? And these are our doc tests. Now we're going to create the function recursively, right? So if n equals 0, then return 1. I guess we can say if n is less than or equal to 1, because these two are the same, right? Then return 1. Else, we're gonna return. I mean, we're not really gonna actually. Yeah, but this is factorial, but in like not asynchronous thing for a second, right? I'm gonna change this in a bit, but we will return factorial of or no, n times factorial of n minus 1, and that achieves the definition of what we're trying to do. So this isn't completely right because we can't really use anything with this. So yeah, this is our base case, which is like if n equals 1 or 0, we will return 1, right? Our recursive case is returning like n times the calling factorial of n minus 1, right? Well, that's not it. That's not it, because factorial is an asynchronous function. So we would have to say await. Right. But when we hit this line, I don't actually know what would happen. Well, we need to send the result, right? Like the bot, okay, sure, this might work and whatever. Like actually, I want to see what I actually don't know what's gonna happen. Let me figure out what. Oh God, what is this? This is like compile error. Yeah, this is a compiler. I don't see that often. Oh my goodness, what is going on? All right, 1 second. Okay, so the problem with what I did is so we need to find like commands. Um, you can't have two commands. Like I already had a factorial command, so it was like you can't have two factorial commands. That was like the error I was getting. So I've just renamed it. Um, so make sure your command names are unique and you don't like repeat yourself somewhere. Um, but yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, so now we're in the base case, or just okay, return n times 08, factorial demo n minus 1. So what the hell is this? Okay, so oh, we need to pass in the context. Live debugging demo. Yeah, that's why it gets really confusing. Well, usually you wouldn't want to do recursion and this kind of setup. Yeah, we don't really use recursion and I you know this kind of stuff. But I'm just showing you like what if we're gonna do this? Oh, what the heck? Oh my goodness. Is this actually doing? Is this actually kind of working? Okay, I'm getting too much into this. Get out, get out. Hmm. Well, point is that I don't think this is gonna work, guys. That is not right. There's a none type. Okay, well, anyway, I'm gonna show you that this is not, yeah, I don't know, recursion is pretty weird because we have to return something, right? But we also need to like send the response of what the return value was, which doesn't really work well with recursion. So that's why we're gonna create a helper function. And this is where we're actually gonna do a factorial computation. So, if n is less than or equal to 1, return 1, else return factorial n, or yeah, n times factorial n minus 1, right? And then we're just gonna await ctx let's send factorial of n, and that's it. Like just make a helper function for recursive stuff right here. Don't be crazy. Like if you, yeah, for commands you can't really do that. I mean, if you figure out how, let me know and I'll be impressed. But recursion, like create a helper function that actually does the recursion. Okay, yeah, that's the right answer, right? Okay. Okay. So what is this? Oh no, I don't know why I had, oh, this is the answer. Yeah, that's the answer to one of them. AFK. Okay, so we're gonna implement an AFK system and we're gonna create a command where a user can set an AFK status. So when a user is pinged, the pinger is notified that the user is AFK. Uh, the user's nickname is also changed to show that they're AFK. Uh, so if a user that is pinged is AFK, the bot tells the pinger that the user is AFK along with the specified reason why they're AFK, or no reason at all if no reason specified. If a user that is AFK sends a message, remove the status that says they're AFK. If a user says be right back, set their status that they're AFK. Make sure that the bot is not affected by the AFK system. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff that we're about to do, but I'm gonna kind of just, yeah, walk you through it. Feel free to try this on your own, but I don't know. So, okay, we're gonna implement a AFK like command, right? And we're gonna start this out with the dictionary, right? And so what we have, okay, key and value, right? A dictionary has a key and a value pair. So what is the key? The key is wait, are there people still here? I don't know if I was hearing voices or maybe I'm going crazy, but um so we need to store the user information, maybe their ID, or yeah, I would say that Discord ID. And that's the key. And the value is the reason that they're AFK. So key is like the Discord ID. Value is reason, like a string, right? Is the string representing the reason they are AFK, right? And so this is just in the main, like main.py. So this is just like client.commands. And so we don't want the bot to be affected by the AFK system, right? And so we like if the bot, like the bot somehow says AFK, we don't want to set the bot to be AFK. Like I have like a say command, right? And so you know how say be right back, right? And so what I'm saying is that the bot says be right back, they're going to be out to the AFK dictionary. So we're going to prevent that right now. So if message.author equals bot dot actually I don't know. I had it somewhere. I actually do have it somewhere. Uh sorry guys. Oh yeah. If message.author is equal to client.user, well, I use bot.user here, then return. Return is just like end the execution of the program, and that's it. Let me just right here, we're right here. So that's how like the bot is not going to be added to the AFK system or whatever, right? And so if we say if be right back is equal to the content of the message that was sent, like dot lower. So if like dot lower is just essentially if we have like a string like x is equal to be right back, and x dot lower is just a lowercase of that. So if there's any kind of form, like if we have like this, and if you have basically if the content is literally just like be right back in lowercase, then we're gonna add the author message.author to the AFK dictionary. And so the reason is there a reason? Did I say there needs to be a reason? Oh, if the user says be right back, right. Okay, no reason. I think that's what I'm trying to do. No reason. Or just, I don't know. This isn't that important. Like they're, or no, I could just say they, I could say like, uh, I could just say AFK, or I could just say be right back. Like, you know, this person is like gonna be right back. And so the other part of this AFK dictionary kind of thing that we're doing is so if a user that is set to AFK sends a message, the user is removed from the AFK dictionary and their nickname is reverted back. So we have access to that. I guess we didn't really need this here. But yeah, we're using the AFK dictionary. We don't really, okay. So, oh my goodness. I'm gonna do this one first. So set the author as AFK with the specified reason, right? Um, oh yeah, so this is when like people are literally gonna say that they're AFK, like with the command. And so the reason is right here. So because the key value is the Discord ID, which is right here, and the reason is like the string, right? And so reason equals 9 is like a string, or actually no, I don't, because it might be a none type, so forget it. So we're gonna set their nickname to AFK plus like their old nickname essentially. Like AFK appears in front of the user's display name. So I would say like okay, display name. So there's actually you can look this up on the Discord documentation, but there's ctx.author.display name, and that's the display name essentially. And await ctx.send, and we want to say that this user notify the author that they are now set to AFK in the channel. So so I would say like maybe ctx.author, you are now set to AFK or something like that. Yeah, but this one, this one's insane. So if a user that is set to AFK sends a message there, you're removed from the AFK dictionary. And their nickname is reverted back. So this looks like their nickname is reverted back. This part is that first part, and the next part is the okay. So if so message is like the context kind of part. So we can say if message.author dot yeah, if message.author is in our users or AFK dict, then like okay, so for example, let's say I said I'm AFK, right? Or I be right back. And so I'm in the dictionary now. And okay, now let's say I'm back. Like I send a message, that means I'm no longer AFK. And so this command is kind of gonna take me out of the AFK dictionary, like that I'm no longer AFK, and it's gonna set my nickname back to like what it originally was. Um, so like for example, what I'm trying to say is like the bot. Oh, that's not what I want. Can I change my nickname on this kind of? Yeah. So like okay, if I say I'm AFK, then this is what my nickname right here is gonna look like. Like the bot can change it, like if they have administrator permissions. So this is me as like AFK like mode. The bot is going to like change my nickname, and then when I send a message, the bot's gonna take AFK out of my name. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here essentially. And so, okay, if I'm in the dictionary and I send a message, I'm gonna delete myself from the dictionary. So delete AFK dict. I'm no longer AFK. So we're gonna delete myself. And now if you know, some people they're like clowns, um so like they might just revert their nickname back. um they might take the AFK out of their like nickname while they're like AFK. Essentially we just want to have like this part right here to just ensure that like they are AFK still, or that their nickname has like AFK in front still. So if message.author display name like starts with AFK, like what you saw earlier, then we're gonna edit their uh actually I don't know this one. I'm just gonna guess, and we're gonna edit their nickname to okay. So we have like the string, like, say this was my nickname, right? Or say this was, yeah, this was me, right? And so we're working with the string, and we need to get everything that's starting from Satella. So there's like about okay, this is the 0th character, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, right? And so we would have to okay, there's still a space here, so everything beyond that point is my actual nickname. So we gotta yeah, we gotta do something like this. X is actually I don't know, I think it would be like this. um let's look at the Discord documentation. Display name is a string, returns the user's display name. What about nickname? Yeah, display name is kind of like, it could also be the nickname. Yeah, so display name looks great. So what is this? Oh, so we're saying, okay, so that's the first part of what we're trying to accomplish. And so the next part is like if a user that is in the AFK dictionary is pinged. So for member and um okay, so this one, oh no, this is just a little different. Okay, so for member, and I would think like server or something like that. For member and guild, uh, oh, yeah, hints. Consider a message.mentions, which returns a list of discord.member objects. Okay, so message.mentions is probably what we're gonna do. So I guess that when a user is pinged, it kind of returns like a. So I guess what this is doing is like, okay, I'm in this server and I can ping a whole bunch of people right now. I actually probably shouldn't do that. So message, what is it? Member.mentions. Message.mentions is gonna kind of return like an interval, like maybe a list of all the people I mentioned. Usually it's probably just gonna like be like a list with one element. And so I'm saying for member and message.mentions, like, so I'm iterating through all the people I mentioned. If it exists, like if maybe this is just an empty list and nothing will happen. Um, if member is not equal to message the author, that's because I don't want to like I'm AFK and I just ping myself. I don't want to have like a kind of like a race condition or something like that. Or I don't want, yeah, it's like weird logic. So forget it. Like I ping myself and the boss gonna say I'm AFK. Like no, no, we don't want to. We want to filter that out and say like if I'm AFK, um, like don't like yeah, just don't be weird about it. So if yeah, that's why I'm saying like, wait, hold up, what am I asking? Oh yeah, so the author of the message that like pings whoever, um, I mean, it's essentially the same idea. Like if I'm pinging somebody, if I'm pinging myself, I'm not gonna like check like that I'm AFK or something like that. So okay, assuming that I didn't ping myself, and we're going into this condition, we want to say like we want to check if the member that we mentioned is in the AFK dictionary, like the member that we pinged is in the AFK dictionary, right? And so AFK message, looks like we want to get the message. So okay, we're saying that they're in the AFK dictionary, and so we're gonna use the AFK dictionary, and we're going to find like the reason that they're AFK, and we would just do member dot just member, I think, yeah. Um, and so we would say oh no's like member dot display name maybe, or it could just be member is AFK and their AFK message is AFK message right here. Yeah, that's, I think that's it. Let me look at the solution that I made like a couple months ago real quick. Okay, that's not it. Okay, so I don't guess I don't have the answer, but I'm pretty sure that's like super close to the answer. Um, all right, so we're gonna create a games command now. Um, Similar to what I did like in the other video. Um, oh yeah, I did this live in this one I actually did live in when I was in person. Yeah, this one is a bit complicated. But I'll walk you guys through it. Um, so yeah, we're actually gonna create an actual guessing game that works with Discord.py. And so I'm just coding this like I kind of already know like what to do. I'm just walking you through. I'm not gonna actually gonna run it in my Python like PyCharm. Um, but so yeah, we have I've done this command, but I did it like a little differently though. Like I used the for loop. Um, but yeah, there's multiple ways, there's so many ways to run, like do the same like task or like function. But yeah, so we're gonna have context and we're gonna have an integer n. Should it be n or I guess, yeah. So right, the guessing game is like we're gonna have 10 different tries, and we're gonna try to um okay, so we're gonna have a random, yeah, I think the number right here, this is the randomly generated number between 1 and 100, right? And so our guess right here is like the number we're trying to guess essentially. So there's a couple of different like things that we want to prevent, and it's like if there's a game currently in progress, like so actually I'm just gonna make this a list because I don't know why. Actually, no, let's just keep it as a dictionary. But so okay, so the key value pair going on here is the key is the channel ID. The value is a boolean, like true or false, like the game is currently in session, right? And um so we know that if the channel ID, like, okay, so the way I want this command to work overall is like, I only want one person like using like playing the guessing game per channel. I don't want two people playing the guessing game in the same channel because I think it's a lot of spam and it gets kind of confusing. So one channel, one game session max, right? So that's how I'm going to create this function right here with this kind of restriction. So I'm saying if the ctx.channel ID is already in game, which is like the dictionary containing like the guessing game sessions, then we're just going to return. And return is just like ends the execution of the program right there, right? Otherwise, we're going to actually play the game and start a new session. So hello, ctx.author dot display name, or I'm thinking a number between 1 and 100. You're given 10 tries to find like the number, right? And so now that the game has started, we're gonna add like the session right here with the key value pair right here. And now we're gonna randomly generate a number. Oh, I made it like dog test. I think this is like super like extra though. Oh yeah. Okay, so tries, we're gonna start with tries is equal to 10. um we have 10 tries, right? So that's why. And when we get tries equal to 0, that's when we kind of stop. So guess is an integer. This is actually a helper function that we're going to use in a bit, and we see that this is an asynchronous helper function, whereas this is like a synchronous helper function. So okay, so the guessing kind of game, we have 10 tries, so that's going to be in a while loop, right? And so that's what we see here. We have a while loop. And so we know that while like a game is in session, like we can keep like going. So that's what this is doing while ctx.channel.id is like in game. And like the number of tries that we have is greater than 0, then we'll keep going. Um yeah, yeah, that's correct. And so message, okay, problem is like when we play a guessing game, like there might be some random like messages, like there might be a conversation going, right? Amidst like the guessing game chaos. So we need to filter out what is not a valid guess. And we actually want to only like when the game is in session, we only want the author who triggered the game to like be the one playing and guessing. So we're gonna filter that out, and so we're gonna say the ctx.author dot id, or yeah, dot id, I guess, is equal to who. So ctx.author is like from up here, like who triggered the command, and we want to say so check is like the function that kind of filters out and ensures that like this is a correct guess. So ctx.author.e has to equal message.author.id. Like who is like what like check. Okay, so check it kind of it runs like for every like message kind of being sent while a game is in session. And we want all of this to return true. If it returns true, then this is actually a valid yes, and we can like keep going. But so the first check is like we only want to care. We only care about the person who initiated the game. Like they have to be the author of like the person like of like the message that's like being sent like from there on. And we want to make sure this is in the same channel. So ctx.channel.id is equal to message.channel.id, right? And that's actually like most of it, I believe. We don't actually need all of these and statements. I think this is a little bit extra. But the last one is that we need to check that the message is actually a digit. And I believe that's all. Yeah. Yeah, we only needed those 3 blanks. Yeah, so the timeout actually is that like sometimes people like play a guessing game and then they just leave or go wherever or just give up, do whatever, do something else, right? And so that's why we want a timeout, right? Because we said we can only play 1 game per session per channel, right? And so if somebody just leaves and they're kind of just lock the game, like the guessing game away so that nobody can play anymore, like for another session. So that's why we're like, if somebody just like stops guessing, we want somebody else to be able to play too, right? So that's where we're gonna have a timeout. Like after 120 seconds, if like nobody's like guessing, then we're just gonna end the game session. That's what we want to do, right? And so after 120 seconds, what's gonna happen is that we're gonna get to we're doing try and accept. And so if we get a timeout error, then we're gonna basically remove the game, the game session, right? And so we're just gonna delete this from our dictionary, the channel ID. So that's what's happening there. So check is just checking, like, is this the same? Like every time a message is sent, the check function is going to be run, and all this needs to validate to true in order for like the next line to kind of like take place right here. So this is like gonna wait, like it's just gonna wait for a message. It's gonna wait until all this evaluates with true, and then message is actually gonna be equal to a valid value that we can use later on. So message is like it's gonna be like a string, I believe. Yeah, message is a string, and message is only assigned when all these are true, like values are true. Then message is assigned, and okay. So now it says we need to check whether or not the guess is correct. Well, we need to call our helper function, which looks like, it looks like it's doing that. So we're going to await the function when integer. We need to cast integer because message is like a string by default. And so, okay, helper function updates the number of tries. Well, we know that tries is right here, but in order to like update like the variable, we're going to increment and decrement it, right? So we need to that's why it's a non-local variable, because it's the scope of it is like kind of outside of our like local frame. It's like 1 step above us, so that's why it's a non-local variable. And so every time we run wins, we're actually going to decrement this by 1, like the number of tries that we have left by 1. And so now like our guess, like, okay, so there's 3 conditions, right? So if guess equals the number right here, like the random number, then okay, we've successfully, like, congrats the author. Like we guessed the number, whatever the number was, and 10 minus tries basically, like yeah. I really feel like there's some people talking next door and it's like almost 2 a.m. I don't want to go check though. And then we can end the game session, right? Like that, right? And that's it. Return is just the ends the program. You're out the while loop is just like whatever, like return, we're done. We're done with the game session if we hit return. Else, if the guess is less than enough, oh no, else if tries equals 0, like then, sorry you took too many tries, the number was number. And then we can delete the game session. Else, if the guess is less than a number, we need to guess higher, and we have 10 minus tries remaining. Else, like we need to guess lower, and we have 10 minus tries remaining, right? Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Do I have the answer on here? I think I have it in here. We can check. Oh no, this is the blank starter code. That sucks. About here. Yeah, it's in here. Oh, I made a slight. Oh, yeah. This is not completely the same, but yeah, same idea. So cogs. Okay, so we've done everything in the main, like main.py, but that's not how things are really like, because we need to organize our code. Like we might have a collection of commands that kind of that are kind of in the same category. Like I might have a bunch of anime commands, and we want to put that in like the same file. Like we want to organize things. Or I might have a bunch of like search commands, like search YouTube, search Google, search Wikipedia, search the Urban Dictionary. Put that all in one file, and that's what cogs are going to be like. That's what we're going to be using cogs, and they're a way to organize a group of commands. So each cog is a Python class. They're in separate files, and the way like the cog kind of template looks like is this. Like I guess in main you kind of just do whatever, but cogs are like classes. So import Discord, import statements, right? And then we say class and the name of the cog, like class, that whatever you want. And we need to have this parameter so that Discord kind of knows like this is like, yeah, this is kind of part of our bot. And we always have self.bot equals bot in our like initializer. And we always need to set up where we always put the same thing here, like bot.add cog, whatever the name of the class is, and bot. And yeah, that's this always needs to be here, like this kind of template. And in addition to this is like in a cog.py folder, or whatever the name of the cog is, .py. I would store like all cogs in the folder actually. So, okay, so inside of our main.py, we need something like this client.load extension, and that tells our bot like, hey, look at this file. This file is part of our like bot essentially. But we need to have this in here in our main file. And so, okay. Yeah, I kind of build the intuition for this already, but yeah, also we can have like a class for administrator commands. It's like its own separate cog file. Yeah. And so this is how it would kind of look like. When you start up your bot, you probably want to list the cogs like in line 9, and you can just do a for loop through like all the cogs and just load extension like that. What did I do in here? Do I have like another exercise I want to do? Oh, these are the answers. Oh, this is just an example of a cog. So, uh, actually, is it? Yeah, this is an example of a cog. So, we have like class games. That's my cog. And this is okay, so commands.command. We have to, instead of client.command, where we're in like a cog, the syntax is slightly different. We have to use commands.command. So this is like the guess like function that I just coded up. And yeah, I just had a bunch of random other commands. Like this is the spin commands, which like spin a random bottle and it lands on a random user that's in the server, right? Yeah, it's like random kind of stuff. And this is the choose command. You choose between multiple choices and it picks kind of one choice. But yeah, these are just like random games that I made. And this is essentially you can take away is like the setup of how like this kind of looks. But yeah, you can also have descriptions of commands right here, but I don't think you can really see it. That's not really that helpful. Maybe it's just for like for you for documentation purposes, but yeah, description isn't that helpful. I would just put a doc string instead. Unless it's a slash command, which I'll talk more about later. slash command, like people can actually see the description. But yeah, define setup bot.add cog games, which is like the class name right here. And yeah, define init self.bot equals bot, that has to be there. Self.guesses, or that's like the game dictionary essentially. Just a little bit different. Yeah, so that's kind of like a template like for how a cog class looks like. Um, so there's some differences, like I said. Commands.cog.listener is basically like bot.event, like in main.py, you would use bot.event, but in like cogs, you would use like slightly different decorators. Commands.cog or no, commands.command is for yeah, it's the same as bot.command, but just in the cog. So I don't know, they're like pretty nitty-gritty, but yeah, if you don't have this, then it won't work. I had to learn that the hard way. So Discord embeds. Discord embeds. I guess I could show you an example. Like it makes your code look really, or like I guess your message look really clean. Like this one, like who am I? This is an embed right here. Like the picture is like nice and like it's pretty organized. Like this is the title of this is like a subfield, like the total number of servers. The description is right here. So everything's pretty organized. And so how we create embeds, embeds in Discord kind of make our bot look like post like cleaner. Like this is a sample embed I found on the internet. Yeah. Like there's some optional parts, like this is the author or whatever. Um, this is some kind of meme picture, whatever. So okay, so we're using a slash command. So slash commands, there's multiple ways to do slash commands. It depends, but there's multiple implementations, but I'm just gonna talk about my way. Yeah, I know like PyCord might have something different and they might even have their own library for slash commands or whatever. But essentially, like I guess what it looks like is so uh I have some slash commands right here already like coded up, like a YouTube. I guess I like my favorite anime right now is like To Your Eternity. Um, so it actually sent like the video. Um, so like you kind of interact with bots with slash commands. It's like a alternative to like the prefixes and so, you know, sometimes people don't know like much about bots and they're like, oh, what prefix does this bot have again? I don't know. Let's just forget it. But if you have like a slash command, like that's kind of universal. Like a lot of bots they have slash commands like this one. I think that's Alexander's. Maybe I could go to like some random server or something. I'm kind of scared. I don't want to let me just go on a bot command on like one of the servers I'm in. Yeah, Groovy has like a lot of slash commands. Me6, you know, all the big ones. Yeah. So there's some differences. Oh yeah, let me actually go back. But so you know that's the name of the command and that's the description, right? And so that's what we would specify here in a slash command, the name, the description. And so slash commands I really don't like because like when you create this command, it isn't live like for everybody to use until maybe in like after an hour or something like that, like live for everybody in like all servers. So if you want to like beta test, you need to specify the guild IDs where you're beta testing such that if this ID is in this list, then you can automatically use it. So I'm doing a testing command. Instead of doing ctx.send, we need to say ctx.respond, and that's because we're responding to an interaction. It's just yeah, slightly different. We also have a hug command. Yeah, displays. Okay, so hug command is we have like an embed, like a hug list. So and then we create a Discord embed where we like specify. You can read about this in the documentation about like as to how like you would create an embed, but it kind of looks like this where we have a title. So the title is just like this person hugs that person, and the color of the embed is like orange. And we're gonna set an image, and that image is gonna be a random choice from our hug list. And then we're going to respond to this interaction by sending the embed. And I think I don't know if I still have this. I probably deleted it. Yeah, I don't have it. But I do have a picture, and that's what that looks like when I used to have it on my bot. I mean, I could just, I mean, that's literally the code. I could just like put it there, but I don't know. But so there's different, yeah, different implementations. I would just, I mean, PyCore now, I mean, yeah, it's up to you. I wrote this back in like January, like these slides, but discord.py is back up. So whatever you want to use, yeah, it's up to you. Yeah. There's also another example, like I DM the user, like you basically send a message to a user, like the bot sends that person a DM, and that's what this is doing right here. So it's only 2 lines long, like in terms of like the body of the function, but like member.send is like the actual DM, and ctx.responder sent it like white check mark sent just like verifies in the channel that you like sent the like command in or slash command in that that the message was sent successfully, essentially. So yeah, you like yeah, I think that's essentially it. So custom help command, it's really helpful to create a custom help command because the default like there is like a default one, but it looks pretty ugly and gross. So it's a good idea to use like create like a Discord embed in order to do that. And actually, I'm gonna take a quick break. Okay, so what are we doing? Yeah, custom help commands. You would want to create a cog for this and like help.py or something using Discord embeds. Um, so if you do this, you need to like specify like because there is a default commands and you would need to actually like nullify that inside of like right here in your main.py. And so yeah, creating a cog, I can kind of show you like mine real quick, but it's a lot. Actually, I think it's already in the slides. So this is mine, like a class help, define a init. And so we need to use like the decorators, like, well, we're gonna group this, invoke without command equals true. I actually don't really remember what that is. But this is the whole embed, uh, which I believe looks like this. Like this code translates to this essentially. So we have like the categories, and this stuff is actually a custom emoji. Yeah, like all the numbers and that's an emoji. Am I recording? Yeah, okay. What else? The uh sorry. Oh my god. The commands right here, this is the description right here on the top. Command information, yeah, just tell, I'm trying to tell my users that like, okay, so all these are just categories, but to view like the actual commands, I would say like prefix help category, like help, like dot, like my prefix is like a period, so like dot help Pokemon, it would show me the list of all the Pokemon commands. And just, support Dragonite, that's not gonna happen though, but yeah, I was just trying to like make a Patreon one time, but nah. So for example, help admin is gonna show me a list of like all the admin commands. Help blacklist is gonna show me like what the blacklist command does, like the description and the syntax of like how I would invoke this command. Because sometimes like you have to specify like some parameters and you don't know what the parameters are to like successfully invoke the command. So grouping help commands. So we use commands.group right here. And now like for the sub like commands, we would need to like do the decorate at help.command. So we know like essentially like, because like to invoke admin, like we first inputted like the command help, and the sub commands or sub part of it is admin. right? And so that's what help.command does. Like this little thing right here, like the return value, like this was able to be sent because this was like a kind of subgroup together. If those are like the right words. Um, yeah. Yeah, same for the about. Yeah. I'm not gonna do this, but you guys should definitely try like creating a custom help command from the slides with the whatever functions that you make. Like in the long term, when you're making your Discord bot, definitely have a custom help commands like what I just showed you, because the default Discord help command is really ugly. Um, Okay, so many Discord bots like have general commands such as like retrieving information about like a user, retrieving information about a bot and like the bot's owner, returning the avatar of a user, all that good stuff. And so you would need like a Discord member, a guild object, and you got to use instant attributes. So I think that leads into the next exercise that I created. I created too many exercises, honestly, but this one is just reading the docs. So this one is like on the easier side. So this is an example like a server info, like I can show you like server info um, on like this server robotics. Like this is the name, the highest role. Okay, so the server owner is now Alec. It used to be Alexander, but this is the ID, how many people are online, how many text channels, all the cool stuff, all the bots, when the server was created at the exact time. And it was exactly at 9:51 p.m. For 59 seconds on the 25th of September 2019. Okay, that's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, that's what is included in the server info. So we're gonna, oh my God. Okay, so but I don't know, a lot of this is just adding fields, and this is kind of just oh my goodness. Uh yeah, this is, I actually didn't write this. I just kind of copied it somewhere. So um yeah, but we're gonna, this is the output of another like the server info. Um Okay, intents. Intents allow your bot to like subscribe to a specific bucket of events. Uh, so like there's certain like limitations if you just don't have intents on. Uh, so sometimes we do need to like have intents on. And why do we need intents? So if you wanted to enable intents, you need to go to bot and click like kind of click these on. And so, okay, you can use this checklist to see if you really need it. And it's like, do you want to know like the member status for anything that you do with your bot? Do you want to know like if this person is playing a game, if this person is listening to Spotify, like the activity of somebody? Or actually status. Oh no, status is like online, offline. Do you want to know that stuff? Or do not disturb? Are these, is this member set to do not disturb? Or activities like, yeah, like if I'm playing a game or if I'm listening to Spotify. uh if you want to know when a member joined or leave the server, you probably want like the member intent on. um yeah, so that's when you want to use it. But if you don't need it, then don't worry about it, because if you have them on, I think it kind of slows you down your bot a little bit, like in terms of like starting up. That's what I've heard, but I don't know, it's like, I don't know. But just if you don't need something, then don't have it in there, basically, right? Um, so I don't know what this is, honestly. What is this? Oh, so this is like when you want intents, like the async def on member join. It's like um you need an intent for that to work. And there's some bots when you like join a server, it's like they send you a welcome message or they send you the rules or something weird like that. And yeah, that this is how they it would work in Python. It would look like this, like the code for that. um but just accept to replace the private message string with like whatever that they sent you with, like sent you. Okay, okay. This is actually kind of hard. Information about a user. We're gonna do this. Oh, I actually have two different like things here. Oh, the actually this isn't that bad. Um, so we're gonna create, so information about a user. What this looks like is info, right? And so we're gonna create a command that gives us information about like a user like this, exactly like this right now. Okay, so we have a lot of like skeleton code. So class utilities, like inside, okay, so we need intents for this, like to know like the status, like I have a status online, right? So that kind of thing I need intents for. And so I already had this on like in the skeleton code that, okay, so intents equals intents. Now class utilities, we need to put commands.cog no matter what, I believe. Right? Let me just check like what is that what the top says? Yeah. Okay. So define init self.bot equals bot, that's always there. Self.beta test. I don't even know why so this is like for slash commands. Oh, I don't think I even use that. But we do know that at the bottom we need to put utilities down here. Like whatever the class name is, that the setup needs to have like the same class name, right? And so this is going to be a commands.command because we're in like a COGS. So it's not going to be client.command, it's going to be commands.command. And target, we're going to set, okay, so info is the client command that retrieves information about a user in the form of embed. So if no target is specified, assume that the target is the author of the command message. So a common pattern in Discord is like, you see how I said like info of who? If we don't specify it, we're going to default automatically that the info like that we want is like the person that sent the message, right? But Discord isn't like super smart enough to know that, so we have to kind of like manually program that, and we can do this in one line, like a ternary. So we can say target is equal to ctx.author if target, like by default, if we don't specify the target, then it's none, right? So we're going to reassign the variable target to ctx.author if target is equal to none, right? Else we're just going to set it equal to target, because like so say we have info on Samim, right? Then the target is like Samim, right? So it's but if we just say the target of me, then the target would actually be none, and then we would like this one reassigns the target variable to be me, essentially. So embed is already taking care of us, like the user information. The color is just orange. Orange is my favorite color, so that's why that's there. And the thumbnail is the member avatar's URL, and we kind of have to use the API for that kind of nonsense. I don't know, dude. The avatar URL. Okay, so there's 38 different things for this. Oh yeah. Yeah, so what we can do is say ctx.author .avatar URL. That's an attribute for like a Discord member, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, I'm just gonna assume this is right. I'm just gonna check my answer later. Oh yeah, right here. Okay, so this discord.user. So yeah, avatar URL. Yeah, so this is right. And the fields, so we're gonna say the name, or we're gonna find the name. We could just say like ctx.author. Yeah. That will return us like something like this with the discriminator and like the name or whatever. The ID, we're gonna just say ctx.author.id. The is this user a bot? Honestly, that isn't really that helpful, but like to know, but okay, so I guess ctx.author.bot is what we're trying to look for. It's gonna return a boolean like true or false. Top role, position, role. Why do I care about this? Oh, there's actually a thing for this. Okay, so ctx.author.top role. That's it. So yeah, like when you're doing this kind of coding, like it's useful to like know like the attributes, and you would have to actually look at the documentation like I'm doing right now. Status, status, like, okay, status is like the member status, like offline, online. So it'd probably be like this. Activity, this is actually a bit complicated, so I didn't make you guys do this. And when did we join the Discord? I think it's just joined at, yeah. So ctx.author joined at. And join server, what's the difference? So joined at, okay. Join that is actually what I want, another one, like the, when the person joined the guild. Server and guild are the same thing. Guild is kind of like the technical term. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure this out, but uh created at, okay, created at ctx.author.created at, that's like when they created their account for Discord. And boosted is a boolean, and okay, boost, it might be something like this. I think these are kind of new. I think it might be a premium subscriber role. Is it? No, no. Boosted. I don't know. Honestly, it's not that important, but hmm. Uh, Premium synths is an object that specifies the day and time when the member user nitro boost on the guild. Uh, no. Oh, okay. So it's this one. It's premium subscriber. Looks like it's a function though, like that you call. Or no, wait, how do you use this? I guess, I don't know. I said I did this, so let me find it. Oh, Riz. Oh yeah, I shouldn't be using CTX. I should actually have been using target the whole time. Yeah, because we're assuming it's the author, but no, it should be target. So all this is target. I don't think I can replace all. But yeah, sorry. It actually wouldn't be target. Okay, that is pretty bad. Wait, let me check. Oh wow. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah. Wait, so premium since, what is premium since? Premium since. Oh, I don't know if that's really like the right thing though. Yeah, boosted is like whatever, but I feel like okay, the member used their nitro, right? But they might not still be a premium subscriber, like, you know, I don't know. Whatever. Target premium subscriber, like it might have been like a year ago that since they like boosted the server, and they might still have this as like true, like this still values to true because like they've done it before, but they're not like a Okay, whatever. So for name, value, in fields, so this fields is all of this stuff, and we have like we have tuples right here. So every kind of item is like a tuple, and so we're like trying to unpack all of that. So this is the name, this is the value, and this is the like inline. And so, oh, this is just okay. This is just name, value, inline. So essentially what we're doing is like we're gonna add the fields. Like we're gonna keep adding fields to our embed. Like we're just for looping through all this and just making each line an embed. Like this is an embed, that this is another embed, and so on. Like this is its own embed. So we're basically just ctx.send like the embed. So yeah, this wasn't that bad. It was mainly just like understanding the documentation and like understanding where to find like these attributes. That's the main point of this exercise. The Mojify is the next exercise that I'll go through. Yeah, that was the answer. Yeah, that's right. Oh, this is the other way to do it. So, well, this is just another example output of the info commands. And okay, Discord emojis, like emojis are kind of big. I prefer emojis over the buttons, but like when I started Discord, they didn't really have buttons. That's like what most of the bots are doing and what they're trying to like lean towards. But I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah, anyway, all Discord bots have like Nitro by default, so like bots can use custom emojis free of charge. Whereas like we we the like the poor people, I don't know, we have to pay. We're not like privileged like the bots. But yeah, so we're gonna do the Emojify commands, which converts all the characters in the text. So okay, Emojify, what does that mean? Well, so there's like emojis on Discord where we realize that there's a pattern, right? So like regional indicator, like that's the first part, and then we send like the uh like x, let x just be like any um what alphabet, something in the alphabet. Like x is a variable that's something in the alphabet, and so essentially what we have here, let me just go into the coding. So this is a command in our cog class, whatever this is, utilities class. And okay, so we want, oh, this is a slash command. Okay, forget it. I think that's why I had that there. So this is a slash command. I think it's slash dot slash command or something like that. Let me check the other ones. How do you make a slash command? I don't remember. Like that. Client dot slash command. Okay, just a slash command like that. Since this is like a cog. So we're saying a slash command returns the input sentence into an emoji representation. So only the numbers 0 through 9 and 8 through 0 are converted. Only take a maximum of 50 characters, otherwise it fails. And that's because we just want to prevent spam. And so we're gonna say, we're gonna have like numbers are like 0 through 9. So we're gonna say 0. We're gonna have a dictionary where 0, we're just gonna like have like a bijection between like all the numbers, like as strings. So it will look like this. It's kind of repetitive, honestly, but yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm just like sleeping through this. Um, yeah, it's not the most like provocative thing you've seen though, but it's, I think it's just kind of cool as to like how you can do this. Okay, so that's our numbers dictionary, right? And converted, what is converted? I have no idea what this is supposed to do. Um, Oh, this is a list because it's saying converted out append. Um, so we're gonna add. So we have our text that we want to convert. So we would have to like iterate through like the string of text, and so that's what this is doing for letter and text dot lower. If so if letter dot is alpha is like um let's do this like okay, yeah. uh what am I doing? X1 dot is alpha. Huh? What? What is it? Um is alpha Python. Oh, oh, it's just like that. X dot x0 dot is alpha. Okay, yeah. So it's just saying if like, what about like 9 dot is alpha? Okay, so is alpha is just like, is this letter in the alphabet kind of thing. So if it's in the alphabet, then we're gonna append, because we can use the fact that like Discord, like we can like send any like letter emoji if it starts with like regional indicator, and like then we want the letter itself um right here. That's kind of the pattern that we see. We can utilize this pattern to our advantage to like create this kind of function easily. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And then else if letter dot is digit. Wait, is that a thing? I think it's something like that. Yeah. So 9 is a digit. So if that's true, then we're just gonna look up into our numbers dictionary and it would kind of like append this to the end of the list, whatever the letter like is. And then we're going to join like, okay, so, if it's like a special character, like an and symbol, an asterisk, or like a character not even in the English language, and just append it. We're not going to change anything with that because there's no emoji for that. So then we're gonna just send the joins like conversion, and that's yeah, that's Emojify for you. Let's see, how far are we? Yeah, so other instances of when we're gonna use emojis is kind of like in our in poker, in my poker game that I made. Um, it's like, okay, what card? This is 5 card draw, but like, what cards do I want to swap? Oh, this is kind of good, but 9, 8, 6. Let's swap out the 6 and the 3 and see what happens. So we're swapping the 3rd card and the 4th card, and then I'm pressing the check mark when I want to say like I'm done like with my selection, right? And I'm keeping the 1st, 2nd, and 5th card, right? And that's what I got. And I got 1 pair. It's all right. So you can so yeah, inside we yeah this is a bit complicated with having like I remember I went through hell to like kind of do that, like figure that out. But yeah, reactions, you need like a helper function for that kind of stuff. Like it's kind of gonna be in like the check function. I can show you, I'm not gonna really explain what's happening, but uh in blackjack, um yeah, you have like a helper function. Um Hmm, this is insane. Yeah, this is like the choices, and I'm saying like they're not, none of them are selected at first, and then I'm like have a helper function to see like which ones are actually selected. Um, yeah, this is kind of insane code. Um, right here is when I kind of use it. Um, yeah, I don't want to get too much into that. It's really insane. But the code is available on GitHub. Oh yeah. So I can show you my slot machine code, wherever that is. Um, I think it's in one of the Pokemon. Oh, yeah, this one is kind of a little corrupted. It doesn't like, wait, slot machine. Okay. Roll. Oh yeah, I called it like roll or something. Roll. I don't know, bro. Um, roll. Yeah. Okay. So all of these here are like, this is yeah, this is uh, emoji, custom emoji. So that's what it looks like on like the Python kind of script or program. Like right here, this is like a custom emoji that you can just, or there's the other ways to like get an emoji. Like all emojis have IDs, like the what do you call it? Default emojis. You can get the default emoji with this, and add reaction is how you like the bot kind of like right here, like you would do like for element for like we have a list of emojis, and then for element and emoji like add a reaction. That's how I would do something like this, like with here, like await message dot add a reaction. Uh, there's other ways to do like a lookup of emojis, and this is for the custom. Um, oh, Discord level system. I don't know if I really want to do this, but yeah, this is really repetitive, but okay, so I'll just I don't know, I was super insane and like ambitious when I wrote these like coding like things, but I'm really bored, but essentially like a way to like okay, so now what we're trying to do is like store data, like store like money. How much money does this person have? What is their level? How much experience do they have? That kind of stuff. And so what this is doing, it's like it's saving. We're gonna have a text file to store all that kind of data, and we're gonna save it. We're gonna load. We gotta like load the data first and then save it, right? And we need to initialize the data if like this user doesn't exist in our text file for that, and we would need to add experience to them, level up, level function, and it's using dictionaries like this, right? And this is super like not it, right? Because it's super repetitive. Nobody really does this. So, JSON kind of thing, writing to files, and we do not want to deal with that. And so this kind of level system with a text file or a JSON file, we want to kind of avoid for like bigger projects. I mean, if you're starting out, maybe it's cool to do this, but eventually you'll want to get into like databases, which is what I did. So I'm using like Postgres and so I use the SQL database. It's you just need to know the basics of SQL. This is, oh, I think I showed you guys this earlier. This is like the leveling up kind of thing. Like, so this is an example of, oh yeah, so I have a whole bunch of data for like every person that like posts a message. So like, this is the Discord ID. This is like the number of commands they use, like the money. So in my like kind of Discord thing, I have like a shop. People can buy whatever with their gallery right here, like Pokeball. This is Pokemon themed, right? So Pokeballs, Great Balls, Ultra Balls, Master Balls, like bombs, arrows. I mean, that's my own thing, like bombs, arrows. Like arrows just like hit somebody random and they got shot. Bomb is like kind of like brutal. Like, let's bomb some meme for a second. Like, okay, I don't have any bombs. Buy bomb. We're gonna bomb some meme, and yeah. Okay, so uh, and so we have a bag, and that's like the amount of items I own, which is like reflect like we need to get all this stuff, like that, all those numbers from our database. So yeah, a lot of stuff just happens right there when I did the bag commands, like just to see how much I own. Yeah, so Pokeball, Great Ball, Master Ball. Total, I guess, is the total commands I used or something like that. Levels is, yeah, self-explanatory right there. So that was me one time catching Alexander, like the old Robusta president in a master ball. So that was a pretty good. I think I still own him. Like I can show you guys my party, and he's still in there. So yeah, and I also have some meme. Yeah, so pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah. Um, Maybe I can try catching somebody. Wait, what are, okay. I have 6 master balls. Oh yeah, I hacked that. I hacked how many master balls I have just so I can like be cool. But let me try to find a victim here to catch. And there's like nobody online, so um I'll just catch Comet. Catch Pokeball Comet. Catch. Oh yeah, I don't have any Pokeballs, so I need to use an Ultra Ball. So Ultra Ball Comet. Catch. What is this? Ultra Comet. Uh, hmm. Well, okay. Well, I'm just gonna use my Master Ball. I don't know what's wrong with that. Uh, what's going on? What the hell? Okay, well, I guess it's broken. Self.use item. Where is use item, bro? Oh. Okay, well, that's pretty tragic. Let me stop the recording. Okay, so yeah, I had to go to my old file to find out. I guess I was like trying to organize like my cogs together, and yeah, I found the. I guess I didn't like successfully transfer over like the what do you call it, the definition, but now I have it here, and it's like a whole bunch of SQL. But yeah, I caught comment just now in the Ultra Ball. So why does it say Great Ball? Um, what? Okay, that's just somewhere in like one of the somewhere one of the things just being sent, it's just like the wrong string in one of the if statements. So I'm not gonna really bother with that. Um, yeah. Uh, 1 second. Okay, yeah. Um, what are we doing? Okay, so oh yeah, yeah. So I have a other couple of other things in my user defined or no in my SQL table. Like I have a whole dictionary that contains or table that contains like a it's like a user defined dictionary. So like um I have a bunch of words and I have definitions. The data was defined, the ID of the person that owned the word, and the guild ID where the word was defined. So like every guild has a custom user defined dictionary, and every person can like define a word. So when that word is defined, like nobody else can like redefine it. But that owner of the word can define it. Okay, so like some people might like abuse this and like bully people and like uh like this person's like a like a cuss word. So what happens if a moderator can just delete the definition? But so yeah, only like an administrator or a moderator or the person that owned the word can delete like a definition, like in those kinds of cases. So yeah, like for example, I defined the word cat and it's in my database, and I defined this in December, and like even now, like I can just like right now, I'm gonna define the word cat and it's gonna pop up. Yeah, and this was defined back in December. So wow, it still hasn't like it's not it's still there, you know. Um, yeah. Oh yeah, you can see like the list of words I defined right here. I don't have the actual. Okay, what is this define whole finger? Whole finger is like 61B. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's pretty funny. Yeah. Oh, I guess I can go over more about this. So guilds is oh, this is just the prefixes. Like people can change their prefixes for the guilds. Message is uh oh, this is for the remind message thing I have. So essentially what I have is like I can remind somebody a message. Oh, that's not gonna work completely because I have a space in my name. Wait, do I have this? Remind. I can so reminds like this person, what's up? right? And so the next time I send a message, or that person that I sent the message to sends a message in the server, Dragonite is gonna let that person know, like, hey, this person said this. Like, okay, I'm gonna send a message, right? And I have one message in my inbox and saying, "What's up?" and that has your messages in my. So that's what that does. And I store like all the messages in the database right here. And I also have it archived, like an archive all the messages, but that's just because like uh I don't really care, but it's just more like people are like using the bot appropriately and not like saying mean things or threatening things. So I have it in the system just so like people like don't abuse the thing. And TCG, like I have a whole actually wait, so we have help message. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. What else do I have in here? I have like a whole bunch of like anime commands. Like I can search up To Your Eternity is like really good anime. You guys should like all watch To Your Eternity. So that's about, yeah, that's the anime. Like search up the anime. What else do I have? Like let's hug comment, like the bot comment, and it sends like a random anime like GIF of okay. That's Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club. Um, well, punch is like kind of brutal, but yeah, let's punch comment, right? Yeah. What else do I have? There's like miscellaneous stuff. None of this is like, it's just like, this is like the identity function, like say whatever I just said. So server invite is, I guess, the link to like join. I don't know if this works. Do I still have it? Oh, I took it out. Okay, whatever. Spin the bottle, it lands with like somebody random. It just lands on me. Okay. It just lands on whoever's online, I think, or something like that. Somebody random that's online. Um, Factorial, it's not really that interesting though, but let's see, what else do we have on here? Help info. I think I can like search up a word on the actual dictionary. So word, what's a cool word? Uh, Innovation. I'm just looking at a poster like that's right in front of me. But yeah, like noun, a creation, and like different definitions of what innovation could be. Avatar is like my avatar in full picture. About is like information about the bot, and help. What else do I have? Help info. Um, yeah, channel info is just a bunch of like random stuff. Um, ping is like the basic command I talked about earlier, that just to check if your bot's like working right. Where's Abby? I think that's the server avatar. Yeah. Uh, oh yeah, we could. So like the remind message that I talked about earlier, like people might have used that, so you can just block the person from sending you like a reminder. Yeah, that's what that does. Oh, there's nothing in anime. Help search. YouTube. Oh yeah, I did this earlier too. Um, yeah, there's also antonym, like the define is like the user defined dictionary. DDEF, that's like to delete a word from the dictionary. So like I say, define test as testing, and def test, right? And it's in there. And now I'm gonna delete the definition. And now it's gone. And it's not in my definition list. What else do we have in here? Oh, the Urban Dictionary, urban Pokemon. Let's see what Pokemon, what do they say? They say some weird stuff. Okay. Uh yeah, that's essentially what else do we have? Games like tic-tac-toe. Um place 1-1, and I placed right there. And okay, I don't think Dragonite's gonna actually make a move, so because it doesn't actually work. Uh, but with two-player it works. Yeah, let's restart. Hangman. Oh, there's like Pokemon guest game too that I have on here. Let's do that. Pokemon guess. That's Chansey. Like Chansey, no doubt. And I gain okay, that's Excadrill. Okay. So you know, gain experience point or Gald. And there's 8 ball. 8 ball isn't that cool. Blackjack. That was a cool one. So I got two set. I have a 7 now. So I'm gonna hit. I need another card like it. Okay, this is a 17, right? So this is like the riskiest, but I'm gonna stay. And oh, Dragonite bust. That means I win. I got lucky right there. But what else? Help games. Um, what is guess? Guess is the guess the number game. It doesn't matter. Hangman. Let's play Hangman for a second. Um, is this working? Oh God. Oh, I see what happened. Wow. That's okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I got it working and so okay, we start a hangman game and we're gonna guess the letters and there's an E. Let's try A. Let's just do like all the vowels, right? Because they're super common. And what about L? Okay, Meloetta, is that it? Okay, Meloetta. It's Meloetta. We can guess the whole Pokemon. There we go. That wasn't that bad. That was a good game. Lottery. I'm just gonna like 1 in 100 chance. Okay, I didn't win. Um, uh, yeah, rock paper scissors. It's like whatever kind of thing. Scramble is like a cool game that I made. It's like, uh, so this is Love Disc. It's just like you scramble like a Pokemon. You try to guess what the word is. Like, what is this? Del. What is what? Okay, I don't know. Oh, Shieldon. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, just showing more about my bot. Uh, I guess like okay, we can go inside the channel and the bot's gonna join and we can make it play music, right? Hopefully this works. I don't know. Okay, okay, I can't do the copyright strike thing, so we're not doing that for real. But yeah, you can see that kind of works. Uh, let's see what else we got. Uh, yeah, help music, right? That just the basics. I don't really have much in there. But yeah, Pokemon, you know, have the arrows, the bags, the bombs, you know, cards. I have like a whole list of cards right here. How many cards do I have? How many pages? 101 pages of just like, that's my collection, right? Collection of cards out of 898, I think. Uh, so I still gotta collect them all. I'm still trying to get there. But yeah, the cards are like kind of randomly distributed. Like just it's like a you just select a random integer between 1 and 898, and uh you get that card. Like you translate that like Pokedex number into the species, kind of like that. Um yeah, there's the Pokedex, like just like seeing the information about a Pokemon. The owner is like, does somebody own me? Okay, nobody owns me, but owner of Samim, well, that's me. Um, yeah, I think I've done most. You can release Pokemon too. I'm not gonna do that though. But roll is kind of like a beta testing thing. I'm not really serious. I don't work for Las Vegas, so I don't know how slot machines really work. But that's like a oh I oh okay. I got the EV roll right there, 20 gallons. Yeah, and you can trade cards, but not real like I don't know. Yeah, so that's let me unpack a card. Let's see what I get. And I get Jinx. Okay. Uh help T yeah, okay. That's essentially like most of what my bot does. Yeah, there's a lot of it's actually really a lot of work behind the scenes, like especially like blackjack and poker kind of thing. Uh let me see if I can get like a 2 pair or I don't think that's gonna happen though. Okay, well that's yeah. So okay, alternatives, database alternatives. You can look at this kind of link. I don't know what else I could use. Yeah, this is what I use, but there's MySQL, MongoDB. Um, so eventually, like when you have like a, if you're like really serious, you can like host your Discord bot on like a server. I used to do that. I used to host my Discord bot on Heroku, but it turns out like the data doesn't persist. This is back when I used to use like JSON files and text files instead of databases, and then I realized like, oh wait, it's resets every 24 hours. What's the point? Because the experience points we're gonna like lose the experience points and it doesn't persist, right? So then I tried like Heroku doesn't really, I don't know, it's super like convoluted. It doesn't, uh, and then I was trying to look at other like database, like, or no, server alternatives, but then it's like you have to like pay money and it's like super hard to set up. And I'm like, it's not worth it. Oh man, there's like a big fly right next to me. So yeah, make sure like using outside modules is like pretty important. Like, oh God. Um, yeah, so yeah, make sure you use outside mod or like it just depends on what you want to do. Like I use the Pi Dictionary, Urban Dictionary, use for YouTube commands or yeah, the YouTube search, you need to use some kind of outside modules for that. For Pokemon, I use like the Pi Pokedex module that really helps and makes things a lot more interesting. And don't limit yourself to just what Discord.py has to offer or like the built-in like features. Yeah. That's my anime list. That's like another like module I used for something. And so async with ctx.typing, nobody really uses. I mean, okay, well, I'll take that back. But it's like if you're like waiting for a bot, like a query that takes like a while, maybe 5 to 10 seconds. If like with ctx.typing, if you put that in, then the bot, it shows the bot's typing, but that just kind of lets the user know that the bot is working on your request. It's not like asleep or something. It's working, right? Um, so that's what that kind of does. I used to have Cleverbot on my bot, like that's before like they did like a whole API kind of change. Um, and I had the free version, so I'm not the best, but yeah, it's like if you get so Cleverbot is like kind of like a web application you use to like chat with an AI. I feel like going on um what the heck? Oh, understood and agree. I'm recording you right now. Good. Oh, come on. That's nothing. Okay, that yeah. Sometimes Cleverbot doesn't have the best responses, but I saw this one on the internet. I'm like, wow. I mean, I don't know how that happened. So you'll marry me, we'll have kids. What the hell? What scares you? Divorce, I want the house. Oh God, like that kind of like level of conversation that Cleverbot's kind of like capable of. I don't know. Like AI is like kind of evolving. Um, so what is this? Oh, this is kind of how I you kind of implemented that. Just using the outside modules. It's not like super crazy code. Uh, why did it? Okay, it's like sleep for okay, whatever. But you need an API key that you had to like register for that. But it was free. I don't know. I don't think this module works anymore. I'm not too sure. This was back in like January. But yeah, I'm not gonna mess with this anymore. Um, this was me using that module. Like I was using like, oh, what is I was just telling my bot like my favorite food sushi and like what's a good place to go eat sushi and then uh yeah, like what's your favorite, I don't know, The Matrix, like the what your favorite movie is The Matrix. Oh my God, I'm kind of scared about that. And yeah, so servers to host a bot, like some websites they offer like free, like you can host for free, but there's limitations like you can only host for maybe like a set amount of hours per month, which I actually realized Heroku has that. And also like the persistence thing is a problem for Heroku. Uh, so yeah, we need like a database to kind of work with the server you host your bot on. A server in a database can cost money. You gotta like push your code to GitHub using Git. Well, yeah, if you're into that, you can take a look at the resources, look on YouTube, or I'm not an expert at this though, like the server hosting thing though. And there's just so many possibilities that you can do with your bot, but don't, I don't know, like you're kind of just limited to your knowledge though. Like, I know a lot of you are just like kind of new to programming, and that's okay. You can you can still like I guess work with you can still do a lot of things like the anime commands that I made. They kind of just work with the random module, like the module. Um, it doesn't have to be super complicated. Just I guess you do need to read the documentation to kind of like understand some stuff, like especially like sending embeds. So I guess you could like creating Discord bot can just in general, like reading other people's documentation is pretty helpful. So I would try to like focus or just have practice in that in this kind of project that you're doing. Um, Work with outside modules, like at least like one or two, like maybe even like Urban Dictionary isn't that bad, I feel, or actually, yeah, Urban Dictionary, something like that. If you want to make a game, yeah, that'd be cool too. Like I made a poker, a blackjack, a tic-tac-toe, hangman. Um, yeah, there's other things you can do if you want to make a moderation bot. That's cool too. I don't have experience in that though, but assigning roles to people, uh, music bot. There's like a bot like about dang memes, and I think I saw like one of like the famous bots was something about Bitcoin. I don't know what how that works on the Discord bot. So, but make good use of object-oriented programming. Make sure you have like the cogs, have everything kind of organized, have like the decorators, helpful functions, simplify your code, don't repeat yourself. Uh, what else do we have on here? Yeah, split your code into different files, read the docs if you don't understand something. Go on YouTube, go on like GitHub. If you YouTube, I don't know, don't rely too much on like the YouTube video like tutorials and you just copy your code. You don't really learn like by just copying code like that. That's what I kind of realized. But yeah, there's so many like there's the Discord servers, like there's a PyCord server for like support too. uh you could ask those people too. You could yeah, just look up the link to the how to join the PyCord. The debugger is pretty hot. Like I didn't even know how to use the debugger until like recently, like after 61B, like the data structures course I took here. That's when I kind of learned how to use the debugger, and it's kind of the same thing like in PyCharm. And I think yeah, because before I was just using like print statements or like, oh wait, ctx.send this, and I wanted to see if this variable matched up with what I wanted. But yeah, the debugger is really helpful. I don't know if Repellent has something like that, but yeah, and these are yeah, okay, that's the PyCord Discord server, and resources are right here. And yeah, that's my Discord is yeah, just what got me into like coding, computer science, and Discord. I like that's like I'm on Discord a lot. That's kind of my like my life, and I feel like if it weren't for Discord, I probably wouldn't even be here. So thank you Discord. Thank you to the community. Thank you to like everybody that's like helped me with this project. And I think this is it though. I'm kind of like over about Discord, and I want to kind of move on to other things now. Um, because there's limitations to Discord. Like nobody's gonna like make a Connect 4 game. Like that's a bit insane. Like on Discord, not on Discord, but yeah, I feel like I kind of outgrew Discord by now. But there's just like I guess it was like a good starting place, but now I'm gonna like my friend is trying to like get me into what do you call it, like blockchain or something. He's like, this is where the money's at. So I'm gonna try to get into that, probably do some like leak code, something else. Cause yeah, Discord is a bit too simplified. And yeah, I guess it's time for me to move on. But I hope you guys get the same joy as I did in doing this type of projects. Yeah, it might feel a little bit intimidating at first, but just do what you can. And you might have to like try to learn some stuff on your own, especially like dictionaries and lists. And you don't have to use a database if you don't want to. You can just be as simple as be as ambitious as you want, right? Just you get as much effort as you put into it, basically. But thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or maybe reach out to me on Discord. But I'm not really gonna. I'm gonna be pretty busy though. I can't really like I can't help with like debugging or anything. But yeah, thank you so much.